So this review is going to be a little interesting because you can see with his wings spread, this guy even diagonally barely fits in my review space. Now, once we start transforming him and collapse the wings a little bit, I think he's going to be a little bit more manageable. But just a really awesome, huge, impressive dragon, and I wanted to show him here with his full extended wings. I love his kind of filmation-y dragon face, although robotic. But really cool figure. It's perfect effect of Mega DORAGON, or Dragon, and obviously it's Transmetal 2 Beast Wars Megatron to complement their Optimal Optimus, and we'll get right to it. I'm going to go ahead and move the camera to its usual position, where we stare at his stomach. And I'm going to fold the wings down, collapse him into a more dragon-y pose, not standing on his rear legs. And I think we'll be able to get a lot more of him here in the video. Alright, so here he is mostly in frame now, now that he is a crouching dragon. There is no hidden tiger in this, I promise you. But yeah, so he sits down a little bit, and we'll focus on his front and back and get to the tail and everything. But you can't have him crouch down a little bit in the four-legged dragon pose. One of the minor drawbacks in this mode is that you can see his front claws, this is as far as they open. So even when you have him standing in kind of a hunched four-legged dragon pose, he never really can flatten his feet, or at least his front feet. So he's always standing up on his claws, which is, I realize that he's intended to be more of a upright dragon as depicted in the cartoon, but I really want to be, like when you put him in a flying pose and swoosh him around, he's fantastic. But it would have been nice if these could fold up a little further at this hinge and sit in a more flat position relative to the rear claw, because the rear claw doesn't move. It's just these front three that are on a hinge that can kind of go like that. But he's got an articulated neck, not super articulated because of some of its functionality in robot mode, but he does have a ball joint right here and then a ball joint at the head as well. So some creative twisting. You can kind of turn it this way to get a little bit more range out of the ball joint, and this way, and you can get his head to turn to the side. His mouth opens and closes with a little fire blast emitter inside there. I love the head sculpt on this guy. Like, just about everything about him is looks really cool. I was gonna have this done last week. I'm finally getting back into reviews. Like, it's just been, nothing's really been coming out, and of course now all the Siege figures are hitting. Those will be here sometime this week. As well as there just wasn't anything coming out for a while that I was interested in. There's a bunch of Bumblebee movie stuff. I really got everything I wanted from that, the Masterpiece and the deluxe figure. And I picked up a couple of the little Energon power charges for fun, but you know, like there wasn't a lot of retail, there wasn't a lot hidden. Now with Siege hitting, it's probably going to pick up a little bit. But so that's where I've been, and honestly, just kind of, it's been really super busy at work, so it's just been nice to have a little bit of a break. Although the YouTube revenue has not been happy with me, or maybe vice versa. I don't know. Anyway, here he is. But Mega DORAGON got here. He was missing, when my first one showed up, he was missing this rear flap here. It just pops off. It just kind of clips onto a hinge there. And so I had to wait for a replacement to get here. And then like they didn't have any replacement parts individually. So they just sent a whole new figure, which I have to send back after I got the part off of it. And the replacement figure was missing these leg pods, which just peg on. And it's not, if they're missing, it doesn't make him look, he's got normal legs versus having this little decorative pod on his leg. But I'm just like, so if you're ordering this, when you get it out of the box, make sure it's got everything. Like nothing was broken on mine. It just had this one had a missing part. The replacement was missing two separately different parts. So I'd kind of hope Perfect Effect starts checking their stuff a little better before it heads out the door. But he's super long. He's like 2 feet long, maybe more. Maybe about 2 feet. Maybe not quite 2 feet. He's got this long neck. He's got this fully articulated tail back here that just keeps going and ending in this little translucent orange claw. There's hinges at each of these tail segment joints, and then a ball joint right up here where it attaches into the back of his robot mode head. But these two pieces are together, these two pieces are together, so it's hinge, ball joint, hinge, and then all these little individual segments, and then a ball joint on the tail claw. So you can get a lot of, it does tend to droop a little bit if you have it straight up and down. That's why I've got it slightly tilted. You can get a lot more, the more you bend it up into kind of a twisty shape, the solider it is. That's something I can fix at the hinge with a little bit of floor polish, because just tightening the screw doesn't do it the way this piece works. But just a really fantastic looking Dragon. I mean, like, if nothing else, he excels at that, although there's a lot of cool stuff in robot mode that we're also going to get into. He does have, being the Transmetal 2, he does have his Transmetal 2 Transportation Ridiculous mode, where he just kind of basically grows some wheels and rolls around like he's a roller skate. Not even like a pair of roller skates or like he's on a pair of roller skates, just like he is a singular roller skate. But you just fold his legs or his front legs up like this. The wings you can position however you want. And then the legs you bring back, extend these down, flip this up, and then bring the wheel down. You can fold this back, fold this up. Actually, you do want to fold this up. Flip this up. This little panel up, come on. And bring this up so, like that, so you can, oh, okay, that just popped off. But so the wheels here are visible, and then there's a little, and then you got to tip this. There's a tab here on his foot, on his little foot pad, that fits into this little slot right here on his chest. Oh, yeah. So you just bring the feet up and just basically move the legs and align them however you need to get that tab in the slot. Come on, you. There we go. And tab it in. It doesn't lock. It just kind of tabs in there. Make sure you get that claw up out of the way. On either side, and we'll do the same. And then again, you can position this little vent pod however you want. And come around, do the same over here. Bring this up, flip it up so that wheel's exposed. Bring the claw back. Tilt, angle this so the tab lines up. Tab it right into there. And then he's kind of got a little, like I said, lift his wings up. And he can roll around on his wheelies. He's a dragon dragster. Ah, okay, I get it. And then position the tail however you want, so he's kind of like a scorpion car. It is not a mode I intend to display him in, like, really ever. But if you want to go for that Transmetal 2 complete 3-mode thing, technically it's there. Anyway, now to transform to robot mode. Now, this step you don't have to do. He's fully transformable with everything attached. But I do find that, like, when you're folding out these dragon arms and everything, because they have to fold back to let all this thing, it's way easier if you pop the wings off. They just slide off. They're attached back here. There's a little slot on this that slides onto this tab. So what I do is, like, one, bring it up so that tab is facing straight up, just because that'll get that out of the way. And then just slide it right off. And just set that off to the side. You don't have to do this. He is fully transformable with these off, but especially for the video process, it's just a whole lot easier to just slide them off, slide them back on when you get to robot mode with all the clearance stuff going on. So we'll pop that up, slide that off, and we'll set that off to the side. So bring his legs back down here. Rotate the little pod around. Nice ratchets in there. Lift these up. You can see his hips are expanded here. So you basically just bring this down and around like that and kind of straighten it up, and then you bring it down at this joint and then collapse the joint in the thigh. And that'll straighten his legs back down to where they're going to be in robot mode. We're not completely done there yet, but we're getting there. This piece, take the wheel here. Actually, it's good that you fell off because this will be more clear. So take this wheel, fold it up into the calf, and then this little panel right here folds down to fill in that gap. And the foot, you really just kind of do whatever you want with. If you want to bring the claw down, if you want to have the claw folded up for robot mode, this wheel serves as his heel. His toes got some posability in it, and this little ankle cuff can rotate, again, to allow for positioning. He does have some ankle tilt here, and there's some ratchets there at the heel for positioning. And straighten it up here at the knee. Like, again, then just put the pod back on whenever you feel comfortable. Thank you for preempting me there. Go right there, flip that down, Flip the foot forward. And again, do whatever you want with the claw. And stand him up, his legs are done. Lift these two panels up a little bit. That'll give you the clearance. His head has come loose in this process, but the little helmet slot tabs on right here to the back of his body. So untab that. Untab it. It should automatically untab because there's a tab here. You can see the slot here that fits over these two tabs on his back, but that's pretty much just like, it's mostly there to guide you. So if those tabs are in there, then you've got the clearance to peg his head in under here, and it kind of makes that a little bit more secure, but this doesn't actually lock into here. So once you untab that head, it should just slide right up off of there. Bring that up, get that out of the way. Move the camera up here for the upper body, because this is where it gets a little crazy. Go ahead and put his pod back on as well. So come on up here. Actually, let me rotate this piece around a little bit so we can angle up a little bit better. Lock it back in place. Come on. Make it not quite so bright since we're pointing out the lights. So these arms, now at first, and this is something I figured out, it's not super clear in the instructions what's supposed to happen. If you look a little closer at it, you'll figure it out, because that's what I did when I was playing with the replacement today. These panels right here actually channel lock these leg pieces into place. So if you lift that up, you can see this slot, coming out of that slot. So once you lift that up, you can pull this whole assembly down. Before, I was getting him to stand, but his legs kept wanting to splay out because of this. So when you're going back to dragon mode, make sure you push that in enough. Hold that down and make sure it slides into the channel on this piece to lock it in place like that. And that will hold this whole assembly together very securely. I should have been holding it up a little higher, but see right there. Just make sure that lines up and locks that leg in place. But now we can free the legs. Go ahead and swing them out to the sides. And again, push down on this to unlock it. Flip it up. And there you go. And these you just kind of want to get out of the way onto the back for right now, because now we're going to be moving a bunch of this stuff around it. Make your feet go flat. There we go. All right, in frame, we're good. So these panels come up. These are going to be a shoulder pads. You want to lift them up, and then at this hinge right here, rotate them back. That gives you access to all the shoulder joints and everything in here. Go ahead on the head. Untab it. You can untab it from back here, and then it tabs in. There's two tabs that tab into the front of this chest piece. So pull this head away from the chest piece. Right there. Here are the two tabs right up here at the base of the gold part of the neck, and they just tab into the back of this panel. Maybe this should be down a little bit lower. There we go. And then this arm comes out. Open these panels up here on the side. This arm comes out to the side. Bring it down like that. Take this chest panel, flip it up, and then this panel right here untabs from right here and unclips. It clips into the back of the spine here. Rotates out. Extend the shoulders out to the side like that. Now you can see his arms are coming together. This whole assembly, take this, rotate it around on this support, and then the whole backpack assembly hinges down onto his back. And then the chest comes down, and the same tab holes that tabbed into the dragon neck tab in right here above the waist. So bring that down, tab it on, and then fold these panels on the side, back up, and that will lock that all together. And then his head, you want to bring the shoulder pads forward, get his dragon head out of the way here, and up over the shoulders. Like that. Fold these out to the side a little bit. Bring his dragon head up. Turn it around at the neck. And then this whole assembly. Again, the tab that tabbed onto the back also tabs onto here where the dragon neck attached. So make sure that slots in. Lock that all together. Rotate his tail around to be facing up. And that becomes his ponytail here. Hanging off the side. The arms, fold them up like that, up, and you actually want to fold them around at the joint. And then like this. The red piece that the arm attaches to angles down onto his back. And then each side has a slot. You just take this tab and put it in this slot on the arm to lock it in place. Like that. And those just kind of sit on his back. Rotate that down. Rotate this around, then up. You having a bad dream, baby? My dog's dreaming. She's woofing in the living room. And then these arms tab in right there. And there's his backpack. Sans wings, but we'll get to those in a minute. Straighten his legs so he's sturdy. Now the arms have some neat features. So we want to rotate this so the elbow faces, you got to rotate the gauntlet around a little bit. And then rotate this arm so the elbow bends forward, and then you continue rotating the gauntlet around like this. The hand just folds up here out of the shield. It can be a little, just slide that down, open up his fingers, rotate his thumb out, close the finger, there you go. He's got a normal hand. So you can have the shield on this arm, just like this, which looks a little silly the way it kind of comes up, but it's there. You can pull it out and rotate it around. And halfway around, on either side, he's got a flip out blade, and then you collapse this back down onto his arm, and now he's got a little blade weapon on his arm. Also inside of here is, and this is genius, there's storage for his extra face. He comes with an extra face, and again, it can be a little bit of a pain sometimes to get out, but it just clips into there. So in whichever face you're not using, there's this smirking face. We'll put it on him in a minute. We can go ahead at this point and reattach the wings, which again, you just come back here, and this is what I was talking about. It's a little bit of a pain to do all that with the wings poking at you. Fold them around to the side. Same here. And again, you've got the full wingspan in robot mode, although it makes him very back heavy. And it's really just a matter of, like, I found that his ratchets are pretty strong enough to hold him, depending on how you have the legs positioned. But also, if you fold the wings down, the wing tips will help support him. But the wings do make him back heavy. He has, let's see if I can just clip this both forward a little bit. There we go. Click his foot forward and click at the heel. The heels are really the key to making him stand up. Rotate this around again. He's got the elbow rotates for transformation. So rotate this so the elbow faces forward, wherever you want forward to be. And you can rotate the dragon head. And he's got his dragon, so he's got his big dragon arm. Spin this back around again so I can bring it on down from the bottom to the top, from the top to the bottom. And there he is. Let's go do a quick little pan down from his feet up to his head and his wingtips. But he's very shiny and really nice looking. I mean, like, he's got bicep swivel on each side, elbow. He's got a wrist swivel as well as the hinge. Oh, okay, the wrist swivel is down below the cuff. His thumb just rotates. His fingers are his secondary fingers are together, but his index finger is two pieces. You can bend it at the hand and at the first knuckle there. For grabbing things, he's got the face storage, which is really cool. His helmet does lift up so you can see more of his Megatron head, which again, a nice little feature. And again, to swap out the head, you just basically, make sure his tail's got clearance. You just lift his face up, pop Pop this face off so he's just a pair of eyes in there. Snap on the grinning face, and then you can put this faceplate back in the shield. Personally, I like the more stoic face. I think the grin's just a little too much, but it is kind of spookily evil grin. And again, not a feature they had to include, but it's cool that they did it. He's got a waist swivel. You got all the posability in the wings as well. He does have a ab crunch, although I mean it does keep him from falling backwards, I guess, if you would rather have him fall forward. But he's got ratcheting hips in both directions. These little panels flip out of the way. He's got thigh swivel. He's got ratcheting knees. He's got ankle tilt here at the foot. The ratcheting ankles. He does have that extra joint for folding this up in the middle. I don't know why you'd want to use that for robot mode, but it's there. He's got the positionable pods there. And now we're going to talk about what I think is one of the neatest things they added to this, because he's not just a recreation of the TM2 toy. Like, they've updated him just like they did with their Optimus Prime or their Optimal Optimus, which I think is fantastic as well. But on his arm, on his dragon head arm, if you take this, you take these two pieces, split them right there on both sides, and open them up like that. His dragon head comes up on an armature, and he's got two tabs on the side of his head, on either side of his head, that tab into this. So you lift this up, and you tab it on the front, tab it together, come around to the other side. You have to kind of wiggle it around to get it to tab in, but tab it in, rotate it around, and then again you can rotate the gauntlet at the elbow so it can bend forward. He's got the same kind of hand over here with the wrist swivel and the opposable fingers, and then his dragon head, you open it up, there's the cannon tip, and he now has a very Megatron-esque fusion cannon on his arm. Granted, it's his left arm versus his right arm, but I'm not going to be picky about that. That's a really cool little added feature that they didn't have to include, but they did, and I really do love it. I think he looks great without having the... I get that it was cartoon accurate. I was always a little sad that the old toy always had that floppy dragon head for an entire left arm. Just because, like, the Tyrannosaurus head as a right arm was... okay, you know, like, I got it, he at least still grabbed things with it, and I guess he still could with the dragon, but it kind of fit the shape of the body, whereas he just had this really long dragon head, so whatever. But I really do just love that cannon. I think that's a really cool added feature. Also, now that he has two hands, over here on the wings, you may notice the little hidden Beast Wars logo on the wing. And if you pull on that, well, I don't know why this is being such a pain this time. Normally they just fall right out. Let's try it on this side. There we go. He's got two very cool Beast Wars swords, and he can hold those in his hand. There is a peg. So you open up his hand, peg a sword in, wrap his hands around it, close it up. And now he's got some serious weaponry. I don't know why this one's being a butt about coming out. Let me see if I can get it here. Hold on one second. Hey, we did it. And that also does allow these to fold down just a little bit closer to his wings if you want to have, if you don't want them angling up so much. We'll put this in this hand. Come on, open up hand. Go in your peg. That's your home, peg. Don't you want to go in your home? There we go. Suck my what? Anyway. Piece of monkey. Anyway. Stand him up. Got his swords. Got his wings. And like I said, the wings are still fully spreadable here in robot mode. You can, although you got to get a little bit more intricate with your posing to support him, because the wings do make him quite back heavy, although it helps if you have the ratchets clicked properly there. just to show you. That's an impressive Megatron. And I get that there's another one coming out that is more toy cartoon accurate. Actually, let me focus on that because I feel like I may have gotten too far out of focus. It's hard to tell sometimes on this small little screen, but there he is. Just fantastic. I mean, like, I loved their updated Optimus or Optimal Optimus, and this guy is leaps and bounds cooler. He's great. And like I said, the wings have some. You can bring them together a little bit. You can angle them down. There's a lot of positions you can get the wings into. Personally, like I said, I like to kind of fold them up so they're a cape, partly because I just think shelf space is a big reason, and also because if he does start to drift a little back when you're not watching, those wings will catch him. The little tips of the wings can help support him. It's entirely possible. You just gotta fiddle with which joints you have clicked where in the legs. Like one click forward, one click back. Mess with that until you find a solid position, and you can get him to stand freely just fine with the wings and everything. But if you're concerned about, oh, I've got young kids who may run past him, or my dog might run past him, it might be enough to wiggle him out of a standing position, just put the wings down. Like I said, it looks more like a regal cape, and it gives him just a little bit of extra stability. So now, if we can even fit comparisons in here with him, because like I said, even he was huge before with the fully extended Dragon wingspan. He's just takes up all of the review space. Oh, he's got some up and down in his hands as well. Forgot to show that off. Like, so he can do this. Let's see if we can get him in here with some of the other figures. Let's fold the wings a little tighter forward so we can get him scooted back just a bit more. Still make sure you're in focus and looking good. So here he is with, of course, you can't do this review without doing this one, with the Perfect Effect Optimal Optimus. Fix his little waist pieces there. Optimus is a little taller, but Megatron makes up for a lot of it with just the mass. I mean, like, he's just as massive as Optimal Optimus is. Megatron outshines it. He's not, like I said, none of his limbs are as thick, but like those wings just really add a huge dynamic presence to him. Here he is, just for the sake of it, with Power of the Prime's Optimus Primal, or Optimal Optimus. Okay, you know, obligatory, I guess. Here he is with Masterpiece Primal, which I think looks okay. He definitely qualifies, I feel, as a Masterpiece level feeling figure, and maybe a little bit more detailed, but good. And here he is. This one was just fun because this year has been a great year for some swanky Beast Wars figures, especially coming out of third party. Of course, we also had MP Dinobot and all that other stuff. But so here he is with G Creations Gorilla, who wants to faceplant because I did not fix his legs before I brought him over here. He also, his eyes are lighting up. But yeah. Oh yeah, because his don't turn off unless you turn them off. It's not like the 10-second rule. So yeah. I am very happy with this purchase. I have been burned on third-party toys before. The missing parts was a little bit of a bummer. And like I said, the fact that even the replacement was missing entirely different parts, check your figures. Both retailers or both consumers when you get it, and the companies when they ship them out, just please make sure it's all there. Because like I said, had it just been mine missing a piece, I was like, well, that's the luck of the draw if that happens sometimes. The fact that the replacement was also missing these two little leg pods here. And like I said, if it's missing the leg pods, like it took me, I didn't even notice until I was packing it back up. Like, he still looks good. He's got regularly proportioned legs. He just doesn't have some little flare vent things on the sides of his legs. But if you're buying a figure, you want the whole figure, and just something to be aware of. Now, you may get a figure that's perfect. You may get one that's missing an entirely different part. I don't know. I hope that's not the case. I hope if you see this and think, that is a really cool Megatron, I would like to buy one for myself, that you get it trouble-free and hassle-free and complete and wonderful, because he is a fantastic figure. And while I usually will be like, here's the figure, he's good, you might want to get him. If you have any interest in Beast Wars, like, I kind of think you owe it to yourself to check this guy out, because he is just amazing. I'm really, really stoked about him. He looks great with the Optimal Optimus. They already have, I've had a place for him on my shelf literally since I bought that Optimal Optimus, and I can't even remember if he had been announced at that point, but I had a spot for eventual Megatron. And now he is here, and he is going to fill that spot admirably. But there it is, Perfect Effect, Mega DORAGON, Mega Dragon, their version of Transmetal 2 Megatron, and again, just he is fantastic.